welcome back to another Foodie Friday Cook With Me video. In today's video, we're gonna be making a real life, quick and easy weeknight meal. I just got home from work. It is 4:15 and we're gonna be whipping up a really fast dinner because we've got a crazy busy night. We have soccer, we have an open house tonight for my little boys, and my middle son right now is actually out at a track meet. My daughter has dance. It is just a crazy busy night. So we're gonna whip together a super fast dinner, and I figured I would just take you along. Today we're gonna be making a meal that looks fancy but isn't. It's super easy, only a few ingredients, and it comes together really fast, and it's super affordable if you need to feed a large crowd. A loud crowd too, that's mine. And that's fettuccine Alfredo. So there's a couple of things that make this recipe super fast and easy. And the first one is using ready to go pasta. Now this is fresh pasta that you can find at your grocery store. I find this in the refrigerator aisle where there is all of the fancy cheeses, and this just makes it nice and easy. It's already ready to go. All I have to do is pop it into a bubbling pot for only a few minutes and it's ready to go. The next way to keep your fettuccine Alfredo really quick and easy is by using shrimp for your protein. So if you use the chicken or something like that, it's going to make it take a little bit longer. That cooks a little bit longer than shrimp does. And this is easy just to have in your freezer at all times. And again, makes the meal look a little bit fancier even though it's not. So we're gonna be using shrimp today for our fettuccine Alfredo. Finally, our sauce, our Alfredo sauce, only takes a couple of ingredients to come together, and it whips together super duper fast. So let's go ahead and get cooking because we have a crazy night and I am starving. So we're gonna get started by getting our water boiling on the stove. However, do not drop your pasta until you are ready to eat. Everything else needs to be done because your pasta is only going to take about 2 minutes to cook. It's that fast because it is fresh. It is not dehydrated. It's going to cook very, very quickly. So get your pasta water going, but do not drop your pasta until you're ready to eat. So I've got my water boiling on the stove. While that's cooking, while that's boiling, I'm gonna go ahead and get my sauce started. And I'm also going to get my shrimp defrosting because I'm using frozen shrimp today. You could use fresh shrimp if that's what you would prefer. You can also use cooked shrimp if that's what you prefer. If you're really, really short on time, you could also do this recipe vegetarian and just completely, eliminate any protein if that works for you. But we've got a busy night still ahead of us, so we still need a little bit of protein. So we're gonna go ahead and get our shrimp defrosting, and then we're gonna get started on our sauce. Defrosting frozen shrimp is actually really, really simple. So what you're going to need to do is grab a colander. I am using these jumbo raw shrimp. I prefer to use raw shrimp because I feel like reheating already cooked shrimp makes them really rubbery. So I'm using these jumbo shrimp. You're going to put them in the colander, and then you're going to turn on your water at cold and just let your water run over your frozen shrimp. You're going to need to do this for a few minutes. Just let your water run and they will defrost in no time. Make sure that your sink is draining, and these should only take a few minutes. Okay, so while our shrimp is defrosting, let's go ahead and talk sauce really quickly. So this is a super quick and easy sauce to put together. You literally only need 5 ingredients. You need butter, garlic, cream cheese, Parmesan cheese, and heavy whipping cream. That is it. Salt and pepper to taste, and you are good to go. So we're gonna get started by melting our butter. We're gonna cook up our garlic for just a minute, and then we're gonna add in our cream cheese and our heavy whipping cream. We're gonna let that come together, and then we'll toss in our Parmesan cheese at the end and make it nice and creamy. When we're getting to that point, we're gonna go ahead and take off the tails of our shrimp, get that cooking up in some butter and some seasoning. By then, we'll be almost ready to get our salad cut up. We're gonna make a really simple caprese salad. So that's ready for us as well. And this is gonna look super fancy, even though it's just another weeknight meal. To start our super simple Alfredo sauce, you're going to start with 1 stick of butter, so half a cup of butter, and you're going to put that into a large saucepan and let that start to melt. Next up, you're going to add in half a stick of cream cheese. Now, mine was not room temperature. Room temperature is a lot easier. It makes it much easier to spread. Mine was not. As you can see here, it's taking me a lot longer to kind of get this moving. So I'm just using a little plastic spatula, and I am moving it around, kind of breaking it up, and it will start to soften. Next up, we're going to add in our garlic. Now add in what you like. I added in maybe 1.5 tablespoons of minced garlic. I like a lot of garlic. We've talked about this before. If a recipe calls for a tablespoon, I'm going to add in 2. That's just kind of how I roll. So add in what you like. If your family likes a lot of garlic, toss in more. If your family likes less, you can put in just a little bit, but don't skip it. Just make sure you add in, as much as you'd like. Now I'm just working out that cream cheese, making sure that it's completely melted. If it doesn't melt all the way, it's not going to fully combine with the rest of your sauce. So just keep moving it around. Don't have your heat up too high. That way it doesn't burn. Once it is melted, you're going to add in your heavy cream. That's what I was trying to show you there. You're going to add in 2 cups of heavy cream. And this is like the, basis of your sauce here. And you're going to stir that around, let that kind of combine. At first, it's going to look like it's never going to come together because it's heavy cream and butter, and it's just going to seem like it's not going to blend nicely, but it will. I promise. Just keep kind of stirring it around and let that simmer a little bit, and then we'll come back to it to add in our cheese in just a second. While that's heating up, we're going to go ahead and take off the tails on our shrimp. So you're going to want to just kind of peel those off. Make sure you get off all of the hard parts. You don't want any crunchy shell on your shrimp. So just go ahead and take off all of that. You'll see me just kind of working those off, and then I'm putting them into another bowl, and those are ready to cook. So we're going to bring those back over to the stove. And now that my heavy cream has heated up nicely, I'm going to go ahead and add in some shredded parmesan. Now I'm adding in probably, maybe about 1 cup to 1.5 cups of shredded parmesan. Again, I like a lot of flavor, so we're putting in a lot of cheese here. This is going to be the quickest way to get this finished, is just to go ahead and buy already grated cheese. Now it's really important, my friends, that you don't buy Parmesan cheese in the regular, shredded cheese section over in the dairy section of your store. Make sure you buy the good quality Parmesan cheese over by where you find the wedges. That's what you're looking for. In a smaller skillet, I'm just going to melt some butter, and then I'm going to cook up my shrimp. I am not going to season these until the very end with a little bit of salt and garlic powder, and those are going to be ready to go. Just wait until the end, because if you season them too much while you're cooking, they might get a little tough. So finally, I'm going to season up my sauce here with a little salt and a little bit of black pepper, and your Alfredo sauce is done and ready to go. It is literally that simple. And I'm just going to give mine a quick taste. I always recommend that you taste your sauces when you're cooking, because there's nothing worse than getting it all plated and realizing you should have salted it or you should have given it a little something else. So I'm just giving this a taste. It was perfect. I loved how a little bit of stretch there was there to the cheese. I like my sauce to be super cheesy. So if yours isn't cheesy enough, you can add in more. If that's a little too much cheese for you, you can put it a little bit less, but that's how I like it. Okay, so our sauce is done. Our shrimp is cooking. That's gonna be done here in just a couple of minutes. Our water was boiling, but I turned it off, and I just turned it back on because I wasn't ready to drop the pasta. So while that water is reheating and our shrimp is finishing up, I'm gonna go ahead and chop up our caprese salad. So caprese salad is literally just a tomato and mozzarella salad with some balsamic and a little bit of olive oil. So here's what we're using. We're gonna be using heirloom tomatoes today. You can use any kind of tomato that you like. This is what we like, and it makes it, again, look a little bit fancier. They're a little bit pricey, but they're delicious. And then I'm also gonna be using some sliced mozzarella. So you could get your own and slice it yourself. However, this is already sliced. Makes my job a little bit faster. So I'm gonna go ahead and chop these up. We're gonna get them looking fancy on this little platter, which, by the way, is from Walmart. I think it was like $7. It was really affordable. So we're gonna get this chopped up and onto our platter, and then it's almost time to plate, you guys. Like, that is how fast this goes. First things first, we're gonna go ahead and slice up our heirloom tomatoes. Now, the easiest way to slice up a tomato is to use a serrated bread knife. This is just the easiest way to get through the soft skin of a tomato. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm slicing mine into pretty thick pieces because we're going to eat this, you know, with some mozzarella cheese, and you want it to be pretty thick, almost like a little steak slice. You could do them thinner if you want to, but this is how we like them. So we're just going to cut those out. And then I'm also going to make sure that all of the stem is out. So I'm just removing it from the center here just to make sure that it's all out. You don't want any of those tough pieces. And then we're going to layer this on our serving dish there in just a second. So again, just trimming up this heirloom tomato. Now, you could use a regular tomato. That's perfectly fine. A steak tomato would be perfectly fine in this as well. Just, you know, any kind of tomato. These are just really yummy. They've got a lot of flavor and they look really pretty on the plate as well. So I did look for a nice bright yellow one, but they didn't have any, unfortunately. But heirloom tomatoes just have a really delicious flavor. If you've never had them before, they taste really delicious in a caprese salad. So now that we've got those sliced up, we're going to go ahead and open up our mozzarella. Now, remember, we bought the sliced mozzarella. However, you could buy just a mozzarella log and you could cut it yourself. However, this is just going to help us with our time. We don't have a lot of time. That is the whole reason why we're making this meal today. So to make a caprese salad, you're just going to layer your mozzarella and then your tomatoes. Now, I have made caprese salad before with mozzarella pearls, and then you just kind of dice up your tomatoes and make it more into like a little salad. But this is how we're doing it today. This is how I prefer it. You just kind of layer it. These mozzarella pieces were pretty small compared to my tomato, and that's why I'm putting 2 in each slot, because it's definitely, you know, the tomato was definitely bigger than just the one little piece of mozzarella. So once you have all of your tomatoes and your cheese lined up nicely on your tray, go ahead and give them a little bit of salt. Don't leave this part out because you'll want to season them up. Then we're going to zhuzh them with a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, and we're going to top it off with some balsamic vinegar. It's up to you how much you would like to add. I always put just a little bit and then allow everybody to add more if that's what they want. And finally, we're going to top it with some fresh basil. So I was able to find this big, beautiful package here of basil right next to the heirloom tomatoes today at my price chopper, and it just looked so incredible, so healthy and delicious. I'm going to use this all weekend long. I'm going to find every reason to have basil. I think I might need to make a basil margarita. But we're just going to chiffonade this basil. So we're just going to pile them all on top of each other. Then you're going to roll them together like this. So they're all kind of rolled up together. And then you're going to give them long, slender cuts so that they create these little ribbons of basil. This was actually one of the first things I ever learned when I was an adult. I was pregnant with my daughter, and I used to watch a ton of Food Network. And that is one of the first techniques I learned while watching the Food Network. I learned that from Giada, and I use it all the time. Go ahead and top it off with some black pepper, and your salad is ready to go.
finally time to drop our pasta. So once everything is ready, you can go ahead and drop this in. And if you watch closely, this is going to cook super fast and you'll see it float to the top. That means that it's almost ready. So I'm going to give this a little stir. I'm going to let it cook for about a minute and then we're going to pull it right out. You do not want to overcook this. It literally just has to be rehydrated and it's ready to go. So we're going to give that just a second. One tip of advice here is make sure that your colander is already in the sink when you drop this pasta because you're going to want to get it out as soon as possible. So mine was already ready to go and I just pulled that out, got it into the colander and we're ready to go. I've plated up my pasta. We're going to top it with a little bit of tangy Romano cheese and it's going to be time to eat.
My friends, dinner is done. I am so very excited to eat. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with a little bit of our caprese salad. Oh my goodness. Definitely gotta get a little bit of everything in my bite. It's fresh. It's got a little bite to it. There is nothing like fresh basil. My absolute favorite. Okay, now it's time for us to take a bite of our delicious shrimp Alfredo. Let's see here. Now, this pasta is so delicious and so fresh. We gotta make sure we get a shrimp in there. Okay, here we go. It's creamy and salty, and that Romano cheese that we put on the top gives it a little bit of a bite. It is so good. Tonight I'm actually drinking a little bit of red wine with my dinner. This glass is from Walmart as well. I love the color. I thought it was perfect for the fall. And this is the wine that I am drinking. It is Barefoot, the Sweet Red Blend. This is my absolute favorite wine. It is delicious. Super crazy affordable. This whole entire bottle is like $10. This will last me 2 weeks and it's a nice sweet red. So if you like red wine, but you like something that's definitely more sweet than dry, that is the way to go. It is delicious. So that is it, my friends, for tonight's dinner. I'm gonna go ahead and dish up my family's food. We're gonna sit down and eat. I'm gonna enjoy this glass of wine and then I'm crawling into bed because I need to get caught up on Bachelor in Paradise. So until the next one, I hope you enjoy this meal. If you try it, make sure that you tag me on Instagram, and until the next one, happy eating, my friends.